Good afternoon. I'd like to open up our Bridge and Port Authority meeting. It's Wednesday, September 5th. It's 4:15 p.m. And I'd like to call the meeting to order. Do we have any letters of communication?
There are a couple of communications I'd like to bring to your attention in the packet. First up is the USS Fort Worth that was in port. There is a notation from Passero Associates, is the second one. This is the independent fee estimate on runway 927, which was justified as being reasonable. And there is the editorial from the Watertown Daily Times regarding the yogurt market in New York State.
Okay, in your packets, you got board minutes from meetings on February 15th, March 7th, and August 2nd. I'd like to accept those.
I make a motion to accept those minutes.
Second. Any questions, comments about those minutes? No? All those in favor accept the minutes, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Do we have any comments or any presentation by students regarding the items today? No, we do not. At this time, I'd like to, we have Fisher Associates here, and we'd like to go into some private confidential information. I'd like to go into executive session. At this point in time, I need a motion to do that.
I make a motion to go into executive session for negotiations.
Second Steve Arnold. Any other questions, comments? No? Okay, so at this time we'll go into executive session. And wait for the camera. All set?
Yep.
Let the record show that we're coming back from executive session. From the presentation, there was no action involved, and now back to regular reports. Wade, go to you first.
Certainly, I'll jump right into the staff report. A couple of key items that has happened during the last month is we completed the discussion with MTO Kingston, that's the Canadian equivalent of New York State DOT. And this was in regards to the bridge signage package on Route 401 and 416. There are significant improvements to signage coming on the way, and it's in the neighborhood of $200,000 to $300,000 cost, and that's done at zero cost to the authority. They were able to work it into their package. I apologize. I have all the signs and how they appear and everything else done up. Should have been here. I forgot to make photocopies today, so I will get those out to you under separate codes.
Let me ask a question, because going to the airport, where are airport signs from Canada or come over here to the United States to tell you where the airport is at? When I go to Canada, they're kind of cute, but I know we have a picture of an airplane, and if the airplane is facing this way, you turn that way, you turn that way, whatever, and they tell you where the airport is. I mean, so is there any thought of, because of promoting the airport also, for that type of sign, to pick it up here?
Not on the Canadian side, no.
But I'm just saying on this side?
We don't.
Huh?
Do we have them here?
Yeah, I don't know, do we? That's
I don't see anything coming up.
I will have
Either
to
way.
check.
You have one out of 812, two signs out there.
You have a picture of an airport.
One at the airport.
Yeah.
I haven't noticed that.
That's all, it's right there in the cemetery.
Well, look, there should be at least one on the corner of 812 and 37 down there.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah, coming out this bridge entrance road.
They're coming off here, coming off our.
I've never noticed. Well, look,
There's none up
check it out.
there.
Good question.
Okay.
What's the stuff you're talking about?
I mean,
We already received all this.
Yes, we received it at the
It's not
facilities.
the board approved.
No, there's
approved
no need
resolution on it.
for board approval or anything. It's just, that's why we talked about it at the facilities committee. I was supposed to have those packets done up, and they're supposed to be in the board read file.
You want to buy this one?
No, that's in black and white. I get the color ones out.
Okay. Maybe this
Thank
is
you.
pretty cheap.
Other things that happened during the period, we had a very good FTZ discussion with a potential client looking to utilize the zone. Got the next step down the pike on this particular item, and we'll see where that goes. Health insurance proposals. August was really a health insurance proposal month for the Labor Management Committee. There's an item we need to talk about in executive session relative to health insurance proposals and corresponding grievance, but the new plan year started September 1st and is now in effect. A couple things regarding the digital sign. Also met with local employee assistance program EAP provider, IT, I-98. We're still awaiting the FHWA to make a decision on the New York State DOT's application, of which our bridge sensor is a part. At the port, one of the items on the agenda this evening, you'll see we have another agreement, or an addended agreement with the company to handle blade frame returns and cradles and that type of thing associated with projects. That means we'll get another ship this year as well. The marketing committee held its inaugural meeting. We have several items on the agenda tonight for the board's consideration and follow-up that needs to be done. Part of that. The Port Access Road required a lot of time during the period. The TSA, I don't want to raise undue alarms, but we're waiting for the law enforcement officer, or LEO agreement from TSA. That offsets the cost for law enforcement at the airport. That expires September 30th. We have multiple calls into TSA and have been following up for about the better part of 2 weeks now, trying to get a status update on that. Because obviously that's a concern for us and also a concern for the city. Several things with outside counsel during the month. A lot of media interest over the past month, and a lot of board discussion with individual members. Be happy to answer any questions that anybody has.
I have a question on I-98 group to continue to promote the need for frequent highways and infrastructure of northern New York. I'd like to have you talk to the board about the new structure that I-98 is taking and going to take here in the near future, which is a meeting Thursday night at 6 o'clock. And I'd like to have you talk a little bit about that.
Certainly, I'd be happy to. I-98 is changing its format a little bit. They will be their own entity, which is I think it's a 501c3, positive on the form. Will be its own separate standalone entity with its own board of directors and its own staff associated with it. There have been multiple discussions. Next meeting is coming up. I have been asked to participate in this. As you know, I am an I-98 supporter. I, however, am not an I-98 zealot. My interest in I-98 ends at the bridge. So that's something that I feel we need to have a discussion in executive session later on this evening regarding my role, if any, in the I-98 going forward. Because there's a lot of things on our collective plates here, and something that we need to have a discussion about.
Well, I think it's a good idea to discuss it, but I, openly here, I just want to make sure that the folks around this table who wasn't here when I was one of the original starters of this, Dan Dupree is the original man that, in person, that started up the I-98. The I-98 started when they were going to spend $13 million from Morristown to Ogdensburg to put in 300 new driveways. And we thought at that time maybe we could restructure that money and come down through Morristown, through the center of from Morristown down to Ogdensburg, and then continue on down to Messina to get into the plants. And that was the beginning of a long situation that's here today. We're faced with I-98. But I will be at that meeting on Thursday night because of some of the strategy that they're talking about. It seems that the President of the United States has designated $980,000, almost $1 million, to do whatever we got to do with this particular survey or whatever we got to do. But for the board's interest, when Dan was here, we captured about $12 million for the studies in the I-98 team. And we had a guy by the name of Wilbur Smith, and he did all of this thing and come back that the 4-lane highway was a positive thing for economic development throughout the North Country. It would help Messina, Ogdensburg, Malone, and all of those folks. All of us would benefit from it. And somehow it got shifted through politicians, and they had $6 million of federal money laying around. Well, when we finally got, Wade was at the meeting, and he was a supporter because I kept pointing at the issue. There has to be a PIN number tied to that $6 million. Well, DOT has always had that money. They've had a PIN number for it. And next thing we knew, it finally opened the gates. But we never got the $6 million. But now they're going to start this new group thing. And I just don't want to get lost here in the shuffle. But this Bridge and Port Authority was the original starter of this I-98. They named it I-98, we named it, everybody named it. And where we got lost here, for the board's information, I just want to talk a little bit about it, is through Jim Halpin. Jim Halpin was our secretary, and when our good friend and executive director passed away, we couldn't find any minutes. We couldn't find anything. Had teacher look. Well, Mr. Halpin had them. We went to him, he had nothing. So all the years that 10 years, I sit on that committee, I still do. We don't know what happened, where they went. The $6 million got lost. We got nothing out of that. We got Wilbur Smith paid for, and that was through the other part of it. But here we are faced with another dwindle. I don't know what they're doing over there at the IDA. I understand these folks in the IDA are involved with something of hiring a consultant that's going to work directly for the I-98. And I don't know who's going to pay all these people.
There's been public discussion on that. Nothing has been decided to my knowledge at this point.
So we'll have to wait and see, but I don't want to lose the focus that we were part of this team, and I want to make sure we stay very functionable within this I-98 thing. But there's money available now, and it seems to me that there's people getting excited now and wanting to get involved because there's money involved. It boils down to where it ends up, I don't know. But the President of the United States has designated that $985,000 specifically for I-98. So where it goes, I don't know. I don't know if the counties had anything on it. I don't know if you have any news on it over there, what's going on.
No.
But I understand that there's been some discussion with the IDA, and they've already got everything all set up, and this is how it's going to be run. And Jason Clark is going to be, from what I understand, stepping down from the Messina thing. Who does he work for?
He is an independent consulting firm. He's no longer affiliated with BDC.
No, so he's all done with that. So he's, I don't know where this is going, guys.
He was driving a truck the other day in the parade. Well, you probably saw him. You were in the parade down in Messina and pulling a little sign.
I see the I-98 sign. Was that him?
That was him driving the truck.
So I'm concerned about monies that we have given and monies that we may give in the future, how it's going to be used. And I don't know how you can be chairman of something and then be a consultant and be a broker and want to be paid.
No.
I don't know how that works. I know I'm a little ahead of everything here, but I wanted to let you know that I will bring this up to date more on it. And I said to Wade the other day, they're going to have a new chairman. You can't self-serve yourself and get state money or federal money. And when I say state money, we got money in there. The Dink Board's got money in there. And did we pay our money last year?
We're still holding it pending agreement.
Hang on.
Agreement with this new organization.
Was it the 12,000 or something?
So anyways, thank you. I just wanted to talk to them about it. I just wanted to let you know where we're on. I don't know what's going on there.
Where's this meeting?
It's going to be in Canton at the courthouse, isn't it?
Yes, it's
Or
over in the
Surgeons.
legislators' chambers.
Oh, is it going to be in the chamber? So I'm going to go to it, and I'm going to sit back and listen. I mean, you know, I'm part of the committee, but since I've retired as the Teamster official, I didn't take any executive position on any of this committee stuff. So Brian called me, who took my position and told me to be there because there is going to be discussion coming up. Of course, he's probably going to talk to you about something in executive session on some of the plays that's going on. So just want to let you know in an open session that I want to be actively involved in this Bridgeport Authority. It's very important, that I-98, because we tie into it. And there has to be money for us to have the spur.
Our modes of transportation clearly necessitate some sort of role within the I-98 group. And that's something that we need to discuss.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome. Thanks for your input. Any else, Wade?
No.
Any
There
other
are no other
questions any other questions for Wade? Deputy Executive Director, Chief Financial Officer. Go ahead.
Yes. I got the financial statements here, I'll hand those out in just a minute. Through August. I've been preparing information requested from the Office of the State Comptroller that was due on Friday. It was sent Friday. Considerable amount of information, a box full actually, of detailed expenditures and for the last 2 years. It included all travel expenses that were paid either through vouchers or through credit cards. Any other spending through credit cards, each and every one listed separately. You know, like if we used a credit card to purchase a part or something that we needed to get here quickly. All those types of transactions were detailed and sent to the Office of the State Comptroller. I would call it a desk audit.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it sounds like a desk audit. What are they up to?
No, this is basically routine stuff. What they do is they're asking for pretty much routine items. They ask all authorities for desk audits, and we're due. We haven't had one we're supposed to have one every 5 years. It's been 6 years since our last audit, so I don't see anything out of the ordinary here at this
Yeah.
point.
They just moved into, I think,
They're going to do the county.
they just moved in there.
I also answered some questions from Division of Budget concerning our 2012-2013 budget, and most of those questions were around capital spending. The question was, why is it up more than 2% above the year before, and that 2% was our contribution towards the capital. I sent a lot of detailed information to the Division of Budget showing that you can't, it's very difficult to compare our contribution to the capital budget 1 year to the next, because there's some things that we expect to get, and we have to contribute 5% of things that we, some funding that we get for other projects that we don't contribute anything, and others that we contribute 10%. There's some things that we do on our own, depending upon our needs. For instance, the improvements down at the port for flat storage. Without those, we couldn't have got the project. So, that was $120,000 that was in the budget, budgeted for that. And so those kind of things, and I sent those explanations. They asked me to remove enough to get it down to where it was 2% over, and I told them that that was a board decision. So they asked me to put in one line of a minus whatever to get it to 2%. make the governor happy, I guess. Was,
It's a
the
good
order
thing
of the day.
form over substance still controls. If it looks good on paper, it's okay.
So if you see anything in the division of budget that has a negative line on it, that's why that negative line is there, it gets it to the 2%.
So I want to be clear, they're reaching out and adjusting our capital budget with basically a plug figure to make it show what they want it to show.
Absolutely, that's correct. Yep,
And 5 months of this budget year has now expired,
yes,
and we're still playing with this.
yeah. Correct.
Never make it in the real world doing that.
No, no,
Only government, Don, can you make it in that world.
the statement that I made, because when I explained about the flat salary, I told him that our budget for part-time longshoremen had gone from 30,000 in the budget to right around $1 million in spending, and the guy, I think, the noise I sounded was him falling out of his chair. I told him that we also had revenue that far exceeded that we hadn't budgeted for also. And I said, we are not a bureaucracy, we run a business. And I don't know that he appreciated that very much, but that's the way it is.
Good for you.
So, as Wade said, I don't know how much longer you'll be here, but anyway.
You might get audited every year.
Under compliance, the first quarter MWBE report was electronically filed. The second quarter is due on the 15th of October. And our goal plan is due Friday. Now, when they asked for the goal plan, I sent the resolution and I sent our policy. That was not the goal plan. I received back some information about how to formulate the goal plan in the format that they wish it to be in. So that's due Friday. I'll get it done Friday. It seems like there's an awful lot of time spent doing those kind of bureaucratic duties.
Just a reality check, if I may, our goal is 20%
Yes.
WBE participation, and what is our actual that you just submitted?
The actual for the first quarter was 9%, and that was mostly due to the Round Point portion of the port access road. Yeah.
Thank you.
I've been providing analysis for business expansions in the industrial park, and also analysis for the returns, what to charge in those cases. We're using the biometric web-based time clock. I have ordered another clock so that there will be more efficient use of the clocks. We won't be everybody going to the same clock. And I've participated in the port access road updates, so I will distribute this. Oh, there is 2 reports that I promised that are not available. The airport activity report is not. I got a hold of the guy at Cape Air, and he said he has been out of the office on vacation, and he'll get it for me tomorrow. That's a day late. And the bridge traffic report with the Labor Day weekend and so on, that was just completed, and or the part that I need to put it in the report that I give you, and that was just given to me, and it appears it's up around 10% again in August over August of a year ago. But again, I do not have that report in the same format you're used to seeing.
I remember asking, it's like, is it quarterly, whatever, when they ask for, like say you're up 10%.
Yes.
Now, if I go back 4 years, 5 years, do we have those numbers so we know like 2,000 versus 2,200?
I don't know how far
And
back
so-
they go, but I've got them back quite a few years.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes when you have reports like that, to see what the transgression has been, whatever, put a slide, wherever it would be, so.
Okay, I'll see if
I mean,
can-
I don't want to burden you with something like that, but if it's easy to,
Okay.
would you like that?
Well, it'd probably be very meaningful to us that up over last year is good, but what is it
Yeah.
over the 4 or
Sure.
5 year or
Yeah.
3 year or
Okay.
whatever? would
Same
be very
kind of a
good.
graph that I did in the
Yeah,
budget.
yeah.
I can provide that. That won't be a big deal to do. Okay, so this is the results at the end of August. As you can see, our revenue, as expected, because of the wind project, is up considerably. The wind project itself is, if you look at the port operating income, our income is up $1 million. The wind project is more than $1 million, so would indicate that the rest of the port operating income that we were expecting, that $425,000, has not materialized. And for some, that is for good reason in many cases. I think we have delayed or discouraged our salt shipments because you can't have salt and wind turbine on the same
I
dock.
don't think so.
So hopefully they will come in and we'll get caught up there. But by looking at that, the $1 million is not the revenue from the wind project. It's much more than that. And if we, and generally overall, we're in good shape on revenue. Other than that, I think that is actually a weakness, even though it's $1 million over because of that.
Fred, on that point, I know these are the actual financials, and this tells a story, and there's another story I think that needs to be told here as well. Can you peel out the effect of the wind turbines and see what this looks like against budget? Because the budget, I mean, there's an inherent mismatch here because the budget didn't assume a wind turbine project. So I realize it's not going to be an actual financial, but it would be a good reference point for us.
I can pull out everything related to the wind project. And I would think that'd be good information for each of you. I can share that with you by email or whatever. I think that'd be good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Salaries and wages, you can see that that's where we're up $900,000. That's longshoremen for the most part. And the benefits are not up that same type of percentage because the longshoremen benefits are paid in cash and considered wages for the most part.
Now, what do you do, Fred, at the end of the year? You look at them all 1099 for the benefits that they received in the
No,
cash?
Because they're paid in cash, it'll be part of their W-2.
Oh, will be.
Will that have like a box 14 descriptive letter for that amount of benefits, or don't they do that?
I don't think so because of the fact that it's paid
Just
cash.
considered wages?
It's considered wages.
Okay.
Bridge inspection, I think that has happened now, hasn't it, Steve? So that's in the expense column, or?
You took one of the things I was going to talk about.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's,
Yes, it has.
so that will next month be in the actual column, whatever the expense was. And in the budget column, I'm budgeting, I divided that, whatever the was, 150,000 divided by 12, so that that's showing up there regularly each month. Any questions about anything? There is some.
How about the general office expense? What's going on down there in the last line?
I don't know the answer, but I will get the answer. It's extremely low.
Yeah.
We've been so busy, we haven't had time to order.
Seems
them.
like something's gonna catch up with us here.
Yeah.
It's not too far down the road.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good question. Again, I kind of, since this is really so early in the month, I just kind of put it together and I haven't really had a chance to analyze it myself. I wanted you to be able to see it, so my answers are incomplete. But I think you can see that the things that are up are mostly related to the project, and most everything else is down on the expense side. Insurance, because we did buy insurance specifically for the wind project. Yes.
Well, I was thinking here, your port warehousing and storage income, does that have anything to do with the turbine project at all?
Very little, but a little bit.
Just a little bit?
Just a little bit, yeah. The increase mostly is from more leftover salt than we budgeted to have leftover. But there's been a little bit of storage income, but not a lot.
Can we get a date when they're gonna, all the turbines gonna be out there? Is that coming up yet?
October
or-
10th.
What's that?
Roughly, I got an update today, roughly around October 10th.
October 10th, everything will be gone?
Well, yeah, depends on what they, weather-wise and things up there, but based
Yeah.
on what we're seeing right now, that's what they expect.
Said you got another ship coming in, I heard that?
Yes,
Yeah, they returned the frames.
blade frames and the housing, drivetrain housing.
The empties.
Done that.
When this project's done, will you give us a printout of everything
Yes.
on the,
Yes.
you know,
I
what
will
we
give you a
paid for
complete
storage?
analysis of the wind turbine project.
And you did say that the bridge tolls were up 10%?
The bridge traffic is up
Traffic.
10%, but not the tolls.
Okay, I
Again,
was just
we,
looking at that
yeah.
30,000, okay,
Yeah,
I were down
Um,
under.
and again, I didn't get a chance to analyze that, but that's year to date. I think we're up, traffic is up 7 or 8% again. I think that I had budgeted that same kind of a number, and it could be the mix of cars and trucks. As cars are up, that's more than trucks. And we do continue to sell a lot of commuter cars, which gives a discount and affects the dollars per trip. Anything else? Yeah, I'll get you something here that kind of shows where we would be without the wind turbine project.
I think one of the, if I may, I thought Doug was asking for a complete breakdown of the
Yeah.
whole scenario of the windmill project
Right.
from the start to finish. What, later on, it don't have to be next month, but
Yeah.
we would like to know how it all broke down, the whole thing.
Sure. Yes, oh,
Bottom
absolutely.
line, I mean, I'm looking at this report, it's got $909,000 in wages here.
Yep.
So if you go over to the line of 1,442,000, subtract that, is that, I don't know that, but is it?
It's about 1.3. But there's more costs than just wages.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's also the extra insurance, there's the extra maintenance. Because in that maintenance line, that's up 187,000. There's welding supplies,
That's-
a lot of supplies from the wind turbine project, so.
Well, the idea is, how did we do, really, overall? That's the issue,
Absolutely.
Because when we go back to the drawing board, when I understand we may go back to the drawing board, if the right president gets elected, we might see some more work. If the other guy gets in, he's not gonna build any windmills, so go from there. Gonna buy more oil.
But you will get a complete analysis of the wind turbine project.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I think that's what you were asking, wasn't
Yeah,
you, Doug?
yeah, complete,
Yeah, I'd like to see
you know, our
that.
wages, expenses.
Right.
The overtime, the
Yeah.
whole.
We quoted everything,
Yeah.
so that it makes that kind of an easy.
I got one question, Fred, and I guess I'll ask you, because you cut up that engine down there.
Yeah, I did.
Where did we sell it, and what did we do there? I mean, is
I think
this,
that'll be part of Steve's report. Right, Steve?
Oh, the locomotive, yeah.
Yeah.
I can answer you now if you'd like to.
no, I didn't realize it. I'm just
Yeah.
wondering if, if you give it away or what you did. I mean,
Well, I haven't seen any cash yet, but we're looking, it'll be coming.
I'll be here Friday.
It's in the mail.
I thought I saw it running, but that was 14.
I didn't know if Tommy had been in and made a visit in the middle of the night.
Steve told me that.
Went out by truck.
I heard that train go by this morning when I was reading the paper on the back deck, and I thought it was gonna blow up. He said, "Gee."
That's a reliable.
What's the wrong?
Well, if it ain't 02, I can care less.
That's the good one.
Steve did tell me it had been
Wow.
completely cut up and gone, and they're
I've
expecting.
never heard the noise on that like that this morning.
Check with me in a bit. Okay, John, I'll get you correctly this time.
I'll be brief and just go over some of the highlights here. We continue to have some inquiries regarding transformer shipments to Messina, probably 2014, 2015. pricing for that. I'm encouraged by some discussions with a large Canadian grain company that's already a customer that is looking to bring some product in this fall by vessel, and should be very good for us. So hopefully we'll have some for the next meeting. Also working with one of our existing salt customers and bringing in a new product that's still being discussed. They seem interested, seem happy with their price. Just waiting for them to pull the trigger on that. I met with a feed producer out of Jefferson County that's looking to store some product at the port. Initially they were looking at just temporary storage of what they made in Jefferson County. Now they're looking at maybe bringing inbound material for their process. That'll take some time to work out if indeed it does happen. So, as Wade mentioned, we had a good meeting regarding the FTZ. It could be used by a local firm. Had a good meeting in the marketing committee meeting, and there are 3 proposals on the board agenda tonight. We met with a St. Lawrence County manufacturer, had a good meeting with them regarding available space and how we could help them out. In terms of marketing, I'm getting some estimates from the Ottawa Citizen, Montreal Gazette, and the Ottawa Business Journal for our next marketing committee meeting to run banner ads in those publications to get some general marketing going. We've worked with 3 or 4 different clients that are looking at space. Some that could decide by the end of the year, early part of next year. I've met with 3 or 4 existing park tenants to talk about expansion opportunities as well. They're working on a vision, mission, and strategy for the marketing committee. I actually have that mostly done at this point in time. We're working with DCG Core Plan to implement the marketing initiatives once those, if those are approved by the board tonight. And we've got a couple of events coming up in October there that I'll be working on as well, in conjunction with the county and our friends at the Thousand Islands Bridge Authority.
John, do you remember working in the city where you had a proposal for having headhunters find jobs and stuff like that? Do you remember that? Was that something that's of value to go back to revisit something like that, or?
I don't think it went anywhere. I think there was the one person that was working for the authority who ran the railroad, who brought in some leads.
Yeah.
And then nothing ever materialized as far as there was a reluctance on paying somebody to do that. And what,
You remember that, Doug? No. Okay. Well, what happened was, and I think the figure was $25,000, the initial fee, and they got so much more money per 10 positions that they got,
Yeah.
you know, for jobs, or whatever, and it had to be 1 or 2 or 3 year contract. I don't remember the logistical things that were involved in it, but there was no action. There was no, it was, you know, but I'm not saying we do that again, but I mean, is it something that may have some value? I don't know at this point in time, but because we're looking at the marketing aspect, whatever. I mean, it may be, you know, throw a carrot out, you might get something. I don't know. But maybe your thoughts would be important on that, because I know you worked with that.
I have talked with a consultant up in Ottawa that I've known for quite a long time, and talked with him about potentially setting up meetings with companies up there and possibly having a contract with him, but I haven't gotten anything back yet. So.
Well, I'm just thinking industrial park, if you had somebody, some guy would say, you know, all of a sudden I got some, I don't know, whatever, some company wants to come in, they're gonna hire 50 people, he knows about the facility, he's gonna get some money for, you know, being an agent and, you know, bringing those jobs in. I think the number is like 3 years, you have to maintain it for 3 years, and he gets $25,000 or $50,000, depending on the number of jobs. And it was a scale of how many jobs came in. Am I correct? Something like that?
So, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's just something you don't pay anybody unless you give me results. I mean, it's like,
John, I noticed a thing in your report that we still don't market the Toronto area, eh? We don't do anything in Toronto?
The county does trade shows in Toronto. I've tried direct mail marketing that far, and Had a couple meetings, but we just seem to be too far away for Toronto.
Okay, any questions for John?
It's a big market. It's unfortunate that we aren't like.
Well, I was thinking about the two ports up in that area, you know, Oshawa and the other port up in that area, and I was just wondering if there was, you know, should we somehow, you know, make sure they know we're on the map or something, I don't know.
Well, I meet with, whenever we go to meetings, we meet with the people from Oshawa
Okay.
and Hamilton.
Yeah.
They know us and we know them.